I'll be talking today about those signs that you may not be able to really see that you are outgrowing your role. So even if you love your job, I definitely want you just to hang out with me for a few minutes today. So we can talk a little bit about that because I don't think people really know the impact that it causes when you have outgrown your role. So if this is your first time, you know the and if you rock with me every week, say good morning, don't be rude. And for those of you who do not know me, my name is Alicia Perkins, and I help leaders lead their careers. And so I'm definitely excited to be talking with you about this topic this morning because like towards like the very end of the year, you might start to like feel yourself starting to get like that little itch of, I wonder if there's something else out there for me. Or you may start to like even experience different feelings or emotions that you may not know exactly where it stems from. And so I definitely want to be able to shine some things, shine a light on some things this morning to kind of give you some signs of you may be outgrowing your role, even if you love your job. Okay. And so again, if you cannot catch this full live stream, you guys know that I do have a channel on YouTube. So make sure that you are subscribed to my channel on YouTube if you cannot catch this full live stream. And you can find me on YouTube at I am Alicia Perkins. So let's go ahead and just dive into it. I definitely want to talk about first why you need to be concerned about, and you see me doing this here. I'm streaming on TikTok, LinkedIn, everywhere. So you really need to be concerned about if you are outgrowing your role, because first and foremost, it can affect your pay, right? Because, when you're not fully engaged in what it is that you do, you will see a decline in how you show up and with the results that you bring forth. And so I do want to say that if you are one that wants to stay with competitive pay, you need to know like what are those not so obvious signs that you have outgrown your role. Okay. And also, for one, it can cause health issues. And I don't think people realize that. Like when you don't really enjoy what you do, or you're not fully engaged in what you do, or you feel like it's a drag, you feel like it's a press, you feel like every day is like, oh, child, right? You feel that will cause some kind of a result when it comes just on your overall health, right? Because you do know that you have to work in your role sometimes 8-9 hours a day and plus. And so when you're not really able to operate at a level to where you feel good, that will cause certain health issues. And like stats have shown this over and over again. And so I really want you guys to tune into this, because, you may see yourself in some of these signs. All right. I see some rolling in. Okay. So the first sign that you have outgrown your role is, for one, you don't find yourself as patient with this, like those same tasks that you do every day. Okay, meaning those same tasks that you can probably do with your eyes closed, right? Those tasks that you just know how to just brush through, right? Those tasks that will usually take you about maybe 2 hours at the most. Now it seems like it almost you need all day, right? Meaning that those tasks that they are not hard tasks. Remember, this is something that you can do with your eyes closed, but those tasks you find yourself having to like drag yourself through them every day, and you are starting to spend a lot more time on them, right? And what tends to happen with this is that because you are not engaged in those tasks anymore, right? Because you don't find any kind of fulfillment or excitement, because this task is something that you can do with your eyes closed, you are not engaged. So therefore your mind isn't on the task as it should be. And you'll find yourself starting to struggle with tasks, right? That you know how it should be done, but it takes you forever to get through them, right? And I think a lot of times it's because it's that like untapped, what do you call it? Potential, right? That's really there's just an urge for more. And so your mind is not even engaged in what it is that you have to do because your mind is thinking on something else. And like I said before, this can really have an impact on your pay because it can look like on the outside that you may be slacking, that you don't care, all these other things. But the fact of it is that you have simply outgrown those tasks, right? And so that first sign is when you find yourself struggling to get through tasks that you know how it should be done. That's sign one. So if you have faced that, or if you find yourself having to face that, but right, exactly. And so with that, y'all, again, it takes so much of a toll on your skill set. Now, sign two, right? You find yourself starting to overcompensate in things that may not even be related to the job that they hired you for. I'll say that again. You'll find yourself starting to do way too much, right, in tasks or jobs that you were not hired for, right? And I think I really want to spend a little bit of time on this because, sometimes, you can have an urge to do more, right? But if the role that you were actually hired for does not allow you that path, you'll start to just do way too much in things that they have not even hired you for. It really falls back kind of like what I said with the first sign is that because there's an urge to do something else, you'll find yourself trying to do everything else besides the job they hired you for because you have to scratch that itch. But that's not always a good thing because you can find yourself spending time on things that does not add anything to you and it does not get you more towards what it is that you really want. But again, it's almost like a itch that has to be scratched, right? So you'll find yourself trying to deep dive into things that they haven't even hired you for because you're looking for that sense of fulfillment, of change. And so that's something I really want you to think about, right? Are you more excited about the work that they hired you for, or are you trying to find your excitement in tasks or in things that they did not hire you for, right? Because again, it's not about you working hard, right? And it's not even about you being great, but it is about you being able to work on those things that will get you closer to your goals, that will move you more towards the pay that you want, that will move you more towards the role that you want. And again, it's not about you trying to only be great at everything, but it's about you being great at the things that mean something, right? So if you find yourself in a place where your hands are in everything, where you're like scratching and you're trying to find your place in everything, that could very well be a sign that you have outgrown the job that you do. And what tends to deceive people is when you are really great at your job, right? When you do it well, it can almost confuse you like, I should be happy with something that I do well, right? Like, because, our mind can say, okay, the only time that I have the right to not like something is if that particular thing does not look good, right? But you can find yourself in a place to where you do a great job, right? And what can confuse you is that the people around you will tell you that you are doing a great job. But you be like, child, why is it that I just do not like this, right? And what happens is because half of you still needs, it's almost like half of you still needs validation and you hearing that, it makes you feel good. But the other half of you is like, child, this is not it. And so you find yourself almost in this pool, right? Of I do it well, but I don't like it. Or I do this job really well, it brings forth results, but what am I getting from it, right? And so when you start thinking about you being in the phase of you have outgrown that role, I talk about it all the time, how it's not something that you should just push off, right? It is not something that you should just ignore. It's not something that you should just feel like, okay, this could be a phase, right? Or sometimes people will almost guilt trip themselves, especially if you are in a job that you are being paid well in and you are doing a great job in it and you don't like it, right? You'll almost feel like I need to just be happy with the job that I have because there are so many people out there who don't have a job. And so you'll start almost trying to talk yourself out of what you know that you need to do, which is to find something that is going to bring you in more in alignment with what it is that you want. And so, with you thinking about you starting to outgrow your role, like don't allow any feelings of shame, of guilt, anything to come and make you feel like you have to squeeze yourself into something that no longer fits, because that is what happens, right? This is an example that I use all the time. I have a child, she's almost 5. So before I had my child, my shoe size was an 8.5, right? An 8 to like a 8.5. Child, now I'm in a size 9. She's 5 and my feet never went down, never. So I lost the weight. Well, I lost almost all the weight that I gained with her, right? And so, but my feet, they stayed the same. They did not shrink back. And so I had a whole bunch of shoes that I could not wear anymore. But because I had spent so much on these shoes and they were cute, I would try to like squeeze my feet into these 8.5s. But how many it did not work. Okay, feet were swollen, toes was crunched. It was not good, right? But because I said no, I spent so much on these shoes, I need to wear these shoes, right? But it came to a point to where the pain that it was causing in my feet was not worth the money that I had spent on those shoes. And it could be the same way in your career. You say, man, I've been here for 7 years. I've been here for 10 years, right? I have put so much in here. I have brought forth all of these results, right? And you can say, man, but I'm being paid well here. You can feel like I have invested so much here. I cannot leave. But you don't realize the effects of what is happening when you're trying to squeeze yourself into a job that no longer fits you. And a lot of times the reason why your job does not fit you anymore is because maybe you do have new goals, right? Or in the goals that you have, they don't align with who you work for. When I say align, meaning that you know that the role that you are in will not get you towards the goal that you want. And so it's not just about thinking, all of the hard work that I've done here, all of the results, my team needs me, all of that stuff, when it is being compared to what is best for you, means absolutely nothing. And, I really want people to be more fluid about their career, right? And having the right perspective on it, right? You have a right to explore. You have a right to change your mind. You have a right to what to do because it's yours, right? It is not about you doing what seems right for other people, but it's about you being able to do what's right for you. And if people will start to really break that belief of feeling like the only way that I can seem stable in my career is if I stay at one place for a really long time, right? They will then be able to experience the growth and the pay and the opportunities that they want. But many times we can keep ourselves trapped in this feeling of, I have to be secure. Now, I'm not saying, right? This is what I'm not saying. I'm not saying to just hop around to everything that you see. But what I am saying is that it's important for you to see and understand when it may be time to go. And when I say go, y'all, I'm not talking about you have to find a new job. You may need to just start looking for opportunities in the space that you are already in, right? You may just need to see what other opportunities at the job that you have now is there. But if you realize that there is none, this is not the time to feel bad about exploring what else could be out there for you. But this is the time for you to start to think about, right? Am I on the right path? And if people would spend more time thinking about, am I at least on the right path, you wouldn't get so stuck in feeling like you need to know every step. How many know that you can very well be on the right path, but you may not know what that next step is? And so, but if you don't know what path you're on, if you have no idea what that next step is, you'll start to feel a little bit unsure, right? So the first sign that I went over is when you start finding yourself having to struggle to complete tasks that you know that you know that you know. The other area is when you found like you have to exceed in other areas that is not even related to your job. The next one is, right, is when you feel disconnected to the moves that you have to make in your role. Meaning like, if there is a shot in your role that you have to call, if there is a choice that you have to make, if it is something that you have to do, right, in your role, it's no longer about you understanding your expertise, you understanding your skill set, you understanding like this is what I've been hired to do. Now it's only about, hey, do what y'all do. Like there is no concern about the work that you do or even the shots that you have to make in your role because you don't feel engaged with anything. So now it's just more about company policy, protocol. It's no longer about you being able to use your unique skills and strengths, right? You have almost completely shut that down, right? Because you are only focused on, let me just get this job done and leave, right? And you are hurting your expertise because there's no way that your expertise can grow if you are in environments that you don't even think of ways to actually leverage it, right? Because you are able to experience growth in your skill set when you feel the space to use it in the way that you feel like you should, because one, that is going to expose you to different sides of your expertise that you may not have known, which is going to allow it to grow, right? It will also allow you to use your expertise and your strengths and your skill sets in ways that will that will bring forth results that will exceed expectation, and that's where that more pay comes from and that more growth. So when you are operating in your role, you could care less about what are the results that you bring through, or you like, look, just do it y'all way. You like, look, do what y'all gotta do. Okay, all right, fine. What you want me to sign? All right, here, go. You just have completely shut off the power of your expertise. Now, this is giving y'all value this morning, okay? Because again, sometimes we feel like, the signs that we have outgrown our role is just about how we feel. We do not realize that when you have outgrown your role, that is going to show up in your everyday work. That is going to show up in how you serve with your skills. That is going to show up in the moves that you make in the job that you have right now. And so this is not something that you just kind of, patty cake with, but you start really trying to, really look into and say, okay, what do I need to do to get myself back on track? Because it's not just about you operating at a job, but this is about you training yourself. It's about you training yourself on how you operate, period. Right? It's about you training yourself on how you do things, period. And so if you find yourself in this slump at work, right? You find yourself not being engaged in what you do. Now, again, I'm not saying that you have to be, I'm not saying that you have to be passionate about what you do, but you do need to be engaged in what you do to a certain extent, because that is going to that will affect how you show up at work, right? And so when you're operating in this slumpville for 8 to 9, 10 plus hours a day, it's hard to break that cycle when you get off of work. It's hard to, right? Because you have been in slumpville, right? And this is the thing, you can very well be on point on the outside. Again, like I said before, you can still get stuff done, but in here it's slumpville, right? So when you have been in slumpville all day, and now it's time to go home and spend time with your family, with your kids, or even with yourself, child, you don't have time for anything. Right? When I say time, meaning there is no strength left, right? Because you have been in this state of mind all day. So there's no possible way that you just all of a sudden just pop up and now I'm happy and excited. No. So this is why it's important for you to think about and understand that you have a right to enjoy what it is that you do. You have a right to want to feel engaged with the work that you do, because you spend so much of your time doing this thing. And in most cases, right? I really want to say all, but I'm going to slow down a little bit. But in most cases, how you are, meaning that mindset, how you are at work, it is going to show up and it is going to affect the other areas of your life, because that switch is not so easy to turn on and turn off as you think. And this is why I do what I do. This is why I say what I say all the time. You deserve to live well, earn well, and lead well, right? You, it should not be a far-fetched reality to believe that you can have alignment in all areas of your life, to believe that you can be successful in all areas of your life, to understand that you can experience success on a holistic level, because you can, right? But the reality is that if one area of your life is off, it does affect everything else. Now, to what degree or to extent that is, that really just depends on who you are. But it does, and it really has, it's almost like it's this own little synergy, right? Like almost like everything is linked. And so this is why I talk so much about you being able to understand about what it means to be in alignment, what it means about fulfillment. Not saying that you get all of your fulfillment from your job, but because you spend so much time there, you got to be able to get a little bit from it, get something from it. And you have to be able to put yourself in a place to where you understand, if I'm pouring back, if I'm pouring in my career so much, right? My career is required to pour back into me. But the question is like, what are you pouring into your career? If you are pouring in, always seeking validation, right? If you are one that you pour in no boundaries, if you are one that you pour in, I'm just going to sit back and wait for people to see the value that I have. If you just sit back and you just want to pour in, work hard, work hard, work hard, work hard, work hard, not smart, but work hard, that's all you pour in, that is what you will get back out of it, right? But when you start to pour in to your career, clarity, strategy, purpose, intention, right? When you start to pour these things in your career, growth, right? Self-awareness. When you start pouring these things in to your career, you are going to be amazed at the results that you get back, right? You will be amazed at the opportunities that you attract. You will be amazed at the results that you can bring forth because you are pouring the right things into it, right? But I know that, you know, a lot of times we are not taught these things, right? I did it myself, right? Work hard, work hard, work hard, work hard. Don't ask for anything that you need because you may seem greedy. You may seem like you are not a team player. Child, keep your mouth shut, be quiet, just do your job. Okay. And not just do your job, but break your neck, burn yourself out, right? That's how we were taught to advance. Child, make your job your life. But I don't know about you guys, but that's just not the rules that I desire to live by, right? That is not the rules that I desire to make my plans by, right? Because it's been told to us. And I'm not the only one, right? We've been taught only focus, and it's the thing, right? These are not the exact words that we have been taught, but this is the perspective that we have been shown, right? Go hard for them. Put them first, right? Help them meet all of their goals first. And then if you have time, think about yourself, right? But when the C-suite is sitting down making plans for what they will do next, they don't think about me first. They don't think about you first, right? They think about themselves. But the perspective that we have been taught is, you know, go all in for them. Now, I'm not saying don't work hard. I believe in doing things in excellence. Absolutely. But I don't believe in doing it at the expense of you. I don't believe in you operating at a level of high excellence and you're not thinking about your success, right? You're not thinking about if this job dropped me on my butt, right? What would happen? Do I have a plan? Do I know how to pivot on my skills? Do I know the field that I'm in so well that I can position myself immediately for better opportunities. Most people can't. Most people can't. Most people focus is on what is it that I need to do so I can be great for you guys, and not what is it that I need to do so I can be great for me. And you don't realize that when you be great for you, you can be great for everybody else. So I'm not saying to don't care about them. I'm not saying to not commit to them, because you need to commit to them on a certain level, but don't let that level be higher than you being able to commit to yourself, right? Because I do believe that to bring forth a result, or again to make the impact, because the people that I work with, usually they desire to make an impact with their skills. To them, it really is more than just a job, right? They do desire to bring forth change in their space. It doesn't have to be a huge change, but they do desire to bring forth some change. They do desire to make an impact with their skills. They love being able to operate at a level of just greatness. And it's not to prove anything to anybody else. It's just because that's just how they're built. They are built to be great, right? So those are the people that I usually attract, right? Now, again, with my clients, I have to teach them how to operate at that level without burnout, because if you are burnt out, there is nothing great about that. But the people that are usually drawn to me, they really do want to be good at their job, right? They want to feel engaged and involved in how they use their skills. They want to be able to some degree inspire the people around them, right? But that all of that cannot come at the expense of you. All of that cannot come at the expense of you throwing away all of your dreams. All of that cannot come at the expense of you running yourself into the ground so you can be seen as great, but not really be great. Like, we don't have time to look great and not be great, right? We don't have time to look well and we're not well, right? And so changing the perspective on your career. Again, the people I usually draw, they are seasoned. They have been in the game. They may be new at their job, but they're not new to this game, right? They are true to this, right? And so when they come through the door, they are coming with something. But the question I like people to ask themselves is, what I'm getting back, is it what I am putting out? And so it really does have to be more about, not just what you can do for other people, but being able to embrace your expertise in a way that is going to serve you, not just in your career, but serve you in your whole life. Because it's just time out for letting everybody else reap off your expertise except you. It's just time out for everybody else being able to get something off of your skill set and your experience, right? Except you. It's time out for you being able to solve everybody else's problems except yours. It's just we're almost in 2024, right? And this the thing is about being able to embrace and understand that in most times when you think that you are asking for too much, you're not asking for enough, right? It's being able to understand that when you want to go to that next level in your career, when you want to take the impact to a new phase, when you want to bring forth results, right, that are new, right? When you desire to make waves with your skills in a new way, right? That you're not building from scratch. You've already put the work in. You've done the work, right? And so now it's about you being able to own the work, own your successes, own your results, own the fact, right? Own the fact that you rise every time. Own the fact that in hard times and in struggles that you was able to rise every single time. Own that you was able to bring forth great things with minimum help, right? You was able to bring forth great results with nothing. You was able to produce great things out of nothing when you worked in environments when you had no support, when you worked in environments when you felt like everybody just did not like you, when you work in environments to where you almost had to squeeze yourself into rooms, right? And even in the midst of all of that, you were still able to bring forth great things. Own that, right? So whatever that next level is in your career, own the fact right? That for one, you deserve it. You put in the work. You've already sown the seeds, right? So now it's about you being able to claim what it is that you want and understand that you are not starting from scratch, right? You are not some just, what's the word? Fresh meat. Hoping that they see the value that you have. No, you lead with your value, right? You lead with your successes and your results. You need to lead with the fact that, again, you're not new to this. You could find yourself sometimes being afraid or being unsure about stuff that you've already conquered multiple times, right? You could find yourself, you know, you see the vision, you see the impact that you want to make with your skills, you see how you want to operate at work, you see the power and the strength, but you don't know that you've already done that multiple times, right? But again, you can never claim what you've already done if you keep thinking that you are starting from scratch. Because the reality is, in your career, it does not matter how many times you change careers. It does not matter how many times you move jobs. You're not starting from scratch. You are just simply building. And you have full control over what that building look like. You have full control over what supplies that you will use. You have full control over how long it takes, right? And so we're still talking about those signs that you have outgrown your role. It's really important, y'all. It's just really important. And I know we hear it multiple times, right? It really is mindset, right? Probably about 70 to 80% of your struggles is mindset. It's simply not that you don't have enough, it's that you don't know what to do with what you have. And in most cases, you find yourself in roles and in opportunities where you got too much, where you are overqualified but underpaid, right? You are overqualified but undervalued. So the problem is not that you don't have enough. Stop telling yourself that you ain't got enough. The question is, the problem is that you don't know what to do with what you have. You have not yet found the strategy, right? Or have even gotten clear to know how to attract yourself to roles, to jobs that is going to value what you have. And a lot of times, sometimes what you have can scare you, right? Meaning that you could have so much value in yourself that when you start thinking about where you could go with your expertise, where you could go with your skill set, what are the great things that you could build, it scares you. You'd be like, child, I just thought this. But guess what? That's a beautiful thing. Because I believe that your goals and your dreams should scare you. Absolutely. Meaning that it should make you think, man, do I have what it takes to reach that goal? I believe that's how you should set goals, to where it forces you to grow beyond who you are now. I believe that you should have goals that make you be like, oh, you got the audacity? Yes, I do. I do. I believe that your goal should be that big. You'd be like, girl, who do you think you are? Her, right? Her, right? Not me, but her, meaning the person that I know I'm supposed to be, her, right? Because that's what this thing is all about. It's not you just having a list of goals to hit. You like check, 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 check. No, right? But it's about you being able to stretch yourself. With me, it's about me being able to trust in God beyond what I can see, right? Beyond what I think I have or don't have, right? But allowing me to stretch myself, because there are just too many mediocre people out here doing what you want to do, and they are mediocre, right? They just watery, bland, unseasoned, just throwing stuff just halfway, just child. But you got it all. You have it all, right? But yet not sure. But yet I don't know. But yet holding back. And it's the thing. A lot of y'all bring forth amazing results at work. Think about this. If you can do great things in something that you don't care about, think about the impact that you can make in something that you do care about. Like if you can bring forth great results in environments that child is all over the place, think about what you can do in an environment that is aligned with you. That is in alignment with your values. That's in alignment with your goals. Think about the impact, the results, the successes, the money that you can make being in environments where you can thrive in. So if you are bringing forth amazing results, just surviving, think about what level you could be at when you're thriving, right? I had I had a call with my with I don't want to say her name, but had a call, and I was sharing with her, and I said look at what you bring forth in the midst of chaos. I said look how the ideas that you have. Like I said, look how creative you are. Now, this client, I've been working with her for the last few months. I say, look how creative you are in the midst of chaos, in the midst of being underpaid, right? In the midst of, you feeling undervalued, but yet, like, do you see the amazing ideas that come forth from you? I said, think about if you were in an environment where you could experience peace, where you were being paid what you know that you need to be paid, where you could feel valued and seen and have a level of respect. I said, think about if you were in that environment. And then her eyes just like got super big. She was like, girl. I was like, girl, think about how you could take your impact to the next level, how you can take your influence to the next level, how you can take your income to the next level, right? And then that is when you get to experience success without struggle. That is when you get to experience success without shrinking. That is when you get to experience success without self-sabotage, without success without self-neglect. But you learn what it means to experience success with ease. Now, when I say ease, does not mean that you don't have to put in the work, but I mean it's the ease of you're not drowning yourself. You are not having to sacrifice yourself. You're not having to shrink yourself. It's the level of being successful and being able to thrive without having to force it. I don't know if you guys have been there, but I've been in environments where I feel like I've had to force my success, right? I felt like I've had to, just almost force my way through doors. And, when I say forced, meaning that I literally felt like it was a wall here, right? And I had to like push through this wall in order to experience, or so I thought, the level of success that I had in mind, right? I had to literally had to convince people every day. I felt like literally, I was a time in my career where I felt like every day was just like day one. Every day I had to go in here and prove to these folks that I deserve to be here. I felt like every day having to go in there and be like, all right, what almost like what tricks, right? Meaning I felt like I had to always do something special to prove to them that I deserve this job. I mean, when my bare minimum was better than theirs, right? And I don't say that in a, I'm just all that. No, that was just the facts of it. Sometimes you just got to own the facts of it, right? For you to understand the level that it's like for you to understand the level that your expertise, it hits, that the level of your expertise, that it is what it is. That's not you trying to brag. That's just you. It's just right. And so, but why is it that I felt like with my bear, I still brought forth so much more, but that's not how I showed up. I showed up thinking every day that I got to be able to come with something new, something fresh. I got to be able to always be exceeding expectations, when it's like, what was I fighting against? Right. And so it's like, you just tend to make that switch in your mind. You like, it don't have to be this way. Right. I stopped thinking about everything that I've done here and everything that I had to invest here. And I started thinking about what was possible just for me. I started thinking about what could next look like for me. And I stopped thinking that all of my accomplishments and my successes and my results, that I was going to leave them behind. And I had to come to the reality that they were mine, that when I leave, I take my successes and my results with me, and nobody can take that from me ever, right? And especially, and this is the last sign that I want to talk about, which kind of flows in right into this part, is that if you feel like you can't learn anything from anybody, meaning your boss, meaning the people that are over you, that you can't learn anything from them, that you feel like you are always the one in the room who knows the most, child, that's a sign. Because again, who is pouring in to you? If you're the only one who can add something to everybody in the room, but there's nobody to add anything to you, where is the growth from? Like, where? Right? If you know, and it's the thing, again, it's not about you thinking that you're trying to brag. Again, it's about being able to accept the facts, right? If there's nobody to pour into you there, and it's the thing, and a lot of the people that I work with, they are already in a lead role, or that next move is a lead role for them. And sometimes when you are in a lead role, you can train yourself to feel like, I got to be the one who just pours into people. I have to be the one to teach and to inspire and to instruct and to coach. But my friend, you need that too, right? Because if you don't get that, you are going to hit your glass ceiling, right? And sometimes that glass ceiling is, I have nothing else to learn, right? I have nothing else to grow from here. I have nothing else to absorb, right? Because this is what happens when you start feeling dry, you start feeling irritated. Because my friend, you have been drained out, squeezed out like a dish rag. A dish rag, you take, you go, ugh, you just like keep turning it, you keep turning it and turning it and turning. I mean, friend, you dry because they have sucked you dry, meaning that you don't have anything else to learn, because in every room you're the one that everybody looks up to. But it's like, where does your growth comes from? Like, where does your mentorship come from? And that's the thing, is not saying that you have to have a role to where, how can I put it? Because it's not saying that I want you guys to go to work to seek that there, because there will be people outside of your role that can do that for you. But I'm talking about just on an everyday in the workplace. Do you have somebody that you can learn something from? And sometimes it's not just about you learning a hard skill, or you having to learn a skill that's related to that particular job. Sometimes, are you able to learn from anybody's character there? Is there anybody there that inspires you just on how they handle conflict? Is there anybody that you can learn some soft skills from, right? Is there anybody there who you can prune anything off of, right? Is there anybody there who can show you an example that you can be successful but still have time, you know, just for your kids or your spouse? Like, meaning, are you able to prune anything off of anybody there, right? And so that's what I'm saying. Not saying that you have to go to work every day and learn as if you're in school. What I'm saying is that, can you prune anything off of anybody who works with you? Character, integrity, patience, holistic success, wellness, right? And this is why you can sometimes find yourself feeling drained when you come home, because you're like, child, y'all just sucked everything out of me and I didn't get anything. Right? You feel like you're the one that has to have an answer for every single thing, but who is the one that can give you answers on something? Because I know some people get a high off of knowing everything, right? Of being the one who knows everything in the room. Some people get a real high off of that, and I just don't think that that's smart. Because for one, you can train yourself to believe that you don't need anybody. Well, my friend, you do. Right. And sometimes that feeling of stress, sometimes that feeling of being weighed down comes from, you do need a support system, but sometimes you can train people around you that they believe that you good, right? Because you have trained them that you don't need anybody. So sometimes, you know, it's always, not sometimes, but it's always good to have somebody else there in the room who can add something to you and you not feeling like you always have to be the one to add everything to everybody else, right? Because we all need support in some way. We all need a team in some way or some form, and that does not make you any less than. So if you all have enjoyed this live stream, it is my goal that every time I show up that I add value to you guys in some way, in some form. You guys know that I do go live on Tuesdays and Thursdays, okay? Now I want you guys to start thinking about, have you outgrown your role? How long have you felt like that, right? How long have you felt that, man, it's just time for something else? And if there is a shame or a guilt of, right, because it looked like, hey, I should be happy here. I should be content, but I'm not, right? I want you guys to start thinking about what are the changes, for one, in your beliefs that you need to make. Meaning, like, are there any beliefs that you have told yourself to think that you don't deserve something else? Or if you keep feeling like you have to keep putting in work in order to get what you want. When I say work, meaning like you have to keep on going through this cycle before you can qualify for what you want. Lies. Again, remember, you have put in the work, right? So this is not about you trying to make more, what's the word? Barriers, aka excuses about why you can't have what you want. Okay. And then two, I want you guys to take some action, right? After you have sat down and thought about what is in the way up here, think about, right? Start taking action and start thinking about what are some steps that I can make now. And then start thinking about some steps in the next week, in the next month. Start thinking about what are small steps that you can make that's going to get you out of this slump, right? When I say slump, that's not to be condescending. When I say slump, it just simply means out of this phase where you're not growing, right? What is it that you can do to get yourself out of this, right? But again, it's not just about always getting a new job, though that could be what you need. It could also be that maybe you need to change the way that you show up at work, right? It could be that it is time to ask for a raise. It could be that it's time for you to ask for more roles that is in alignment with your goals, right? So when you talk about you outgrowing your role, it's not just it's time to go, but it's like, no, what is it that I really need right now, right? What is it that you need to stir you back up, right? And then again, I want you guys to take some action. I want you guys to think about doing the work. Again, I'm not talking about what I'm talking about is doing the work in you. Why? Because you are worth the work. You are worth the time that it sits down to think about what it is that you want, to think about, are you even on the right path? You are worth it. And you'd be surprised how you being able to take some time now and think about where you are and where you want to be, how that will save you years down the road. It'll save you years of being in a job that you should have never been in the first place. It'll save you years from being underpaid because you didn't ask for what it is that you want years ago, right? It saves you from all of that. And so if you guys want help with this, you guys, let's talk. You can work with me in two different ways. The best you, that is a way to work with me, right? Because it really depends on if you want to work with me one-to-one or inside of my group. And so if you want to work with me one-to-one, that is called the next you, right? If you guys want more information, you can find that out on my website at IamAliciaPerkins.com. Okay. Or if you guys just want to chat, let's talk to see if we would be a good fit for each other. I want to know what questions you guys have. I thought I saw one over here on TikTok. Somebody asked, a comment says, but it's so comfortable to answer everything. It's so hard to be a mentee sometimes. Oh, I'm so glad you're honest. You said that. I'm so glad you said that. Yeah, for some people, it can be really hard to be in the mentee seat, right? Kind of like what I said earlier, like you start feeling like you have to be the one to know the answers. And a lot of this stuff, it comes from childhood, right? Especially if you are the one that you know, as a kid, if you had like any with your family, like you were always the one who had to kind of like support everybody, or you the one with when it came to the kids, and like all that was kind of on you. And or if even when you were a kid, like if your family had really like high standards of you, it's not saying that it's a wrong thing, but sometimes, with parents, and this is something I'm being aware of with my own child, is that what are the expectations that I am putting on you? Because it's one thing if you would like your child to do something. It's another thing to set an actual expectation on them. Right. And I think with parents, though they mean well, they can sometimes set really high expectations on their kids. And so if you grew up always trying to reach super high expectations, right? You have trained yourself that that is what you do. That is what you are good for. That is what makes the people around you satisfied with you when you can hit high expectations, right? And so in your career, you go into that same cycle. Whereas my success is not in me being able to have a career that allows me to live the life that I want. My success is being able to hit high expectations. And in that, we have trained ourselves to believe that us being able to hit high expectations and to be able to hit high expectations without any help is what makes us successful, right? That is what we've been trained, right? Not only is it that I succeed, but I succeed without help. And that is just a dangerous cycle, because for one, it burns you out. Two, you begin to be validated by your successes, meaning that you put your self-worth into you being able to reach high standards. And so you never really learn how to separate what you do and who you are. So it's like this big confusing ball, right? And it's all in this big jumbled mess, because that's what it is, a mess. It's a big jumbled mess. And so you do not know, like, for instance, say at work, and maybe if you are in a season to where maybe your results ain't really hitting out like they should, or maybe you're in a season to where you just really can't bring forth as you once did. Your self-worth in your mind, it will take a hard hit, because it's not just, man, I'm tired or I'm burnt out. It's like, no, I'm just not valuable right now, right? Because a lot of times we do tend to tie our self-worth into what we do, and not just what we do, but what we do for other people. So even when you find yourself having to like hit these high standards, and for a moment you can think that, man, I did an amazing job, but if anybody around you says anything to make you feel like it wasn't quite what it should be, you are destroyed. And the reason why I can paint this in such a great picture, because I've been there. Anytime when you can't be what they need you to be, work, family, spouse, kids, whatever, anytime that you can't be what they need you to be, or what you've always been, you take a hit in confidence. You feel insecure. You feel like you're not valuable. All of this comes back again, not every time, but a lot of time, from just how we were raised and what we were trained to believe that success is, right? Because I've learned that success is that I can lay my head down at night and close my eyes and know that I operated in, integrity. That should be a success that we feel. But for us, if we haven't hit goals, if we haven't tried something new, if we haven't tried to start a business, if we haven't done something that was going to bring forth a result that is seen by other people, that's not successful. That's what we have trained ourselves. But I have trained myself, and thank the Lord that God is still training me on certain things, like what really is success, right? Success for me, like I said, that at night when I close my eyes, I know that I operated in a good character, that I did not compromise my values. I did not have to scam anybody. I did not have to do any of that, right? That is what a level of success is for me. Again, that did take me having to do some self-work. I had to do a lot of fasting, a lot of prayer, because it's just a lot of beliefs that we trained ourselves. And again, this is not to say that, I was raised in a bad way. I really believe that my parents did the best that they could, and they used what they had, right? But I will say, now that I have my own child, I am a lot more aware of what I speak to her, of what I show her, of what I show her what success is, because you can confuse, I'm getting a little deep here, y'all, but you can confuse your kids, right? When you make them feel like you are successful, when you make your kids feel, when I say feel, especially if you have talked with your kids and you say, look at mommy, I'm successful. It may not be those words, but think about how you talk about your career or whatever it is with your kids, and what is it that you paint in them in their mind. And if you tell your kids that I am successful, I've done a lot of hard work, but they see you having to wake up every morning and go to a job that you don't like, they see you stressed out behind the job that you say that you're so successful in, you train your kids to believe that success comes with struggle, that success comes with, I have to force myself to do something that I know I don't want to do, that is success. And that is real. Right. And so again, I don't think that we do this. Like, I don't think that we are aware of this, but this is what it paints for them. And this is why you get generations, right, keep doing the same thing, because they see the same thing. Right. And so I really do believe that it is about you being able to get clear on what is success for you. Because if you don't know what success is, when you hit it, you won't really know. Right. And so get clear on what that is for you and what that is for you right now. Again, there's nothing wrong with you having goals, but I think it's really important to make sure that you not just paint the right picture for yourself, but paint the right picture just even for your family or even your kids. Like, what is it that you're showing them is success? And we have the power and to train ourselves to, and also to have our kids trained that you don't have to struggle through everything. You don't have to do everything alone. You not asking for help, that is not what makes you strong. Because how many sometimes you have to ask for help, and you asking for help, that is what makes you strong, right? Because you have come to the reality that I can't do everything alone. And that is going to make you feel good about the success once you reach it. Okay. If you want to book a call with me, go into my link and see. I'm sorry, I missed it. Yeah, go into the link on my page and you can book a call with me. It was one more. I think somebody said, how do you find a mentor? I think it really depends on what you want one for, because I do believe that everybody needs one in their life. You need one, or a coach. You need somebody there to help you gauge where you are. So for one, when you think about, I'll say this, there's a difference between having a mentor and another one between having a coach, right? When you think about a mentor is somebody that's already experienced a result that you want, right? So they don't, how can I put it? Like, they don't guide you with maybe an actual expertise, in quotes, but they just guide you with the experiences that they had. Right. So when you think about that, it's more about they're just kind of there to kind of like bounce ideas off of and just kind of share things. Right. And so they can provide you a level of insights or strategies, things of that sort. But it just comes from a place of this is what I've done. Right. You talk about a coach is more, again, there is a level of expertise there. Right. Like for me, like I worked in a field for over 10 years, right? I was the one I had to hire, I had to do all that stuff. And then probably like around 5 or 6, I actually was in talent growth, right? So there is a level of expertise that I have with the clients that I work with, but there's also experiences of my own, right? And when you have a coach is more about, they are able to give you plays and strategies, and they're able to actually hold your hand through it. Like, just for example, think about a football coach, right? They're in the game with you. You think about a mentor, they're just kind of there if you need them, right? So that's a really big difference between having that and a coach. And it really just depends on where you are now, and it really depends on like what are the goals there too, right? Just think, one is more formal, one is more casual. So if you have a mentor, you definitely need to be self-led, meaning that like a lot of the exchange is going to start with you. But if you believe that you need a coach, again, it's like they're there to really engage with you, and it's not as self-led. So, but again, it really depends on which one you need, because when you think about mentors, you can have more than one, but it just depends on what you need right now. Now, of course, if you want somebody that is well seasoned, who can give you insight that is more down the road, who can allow you to see a more long-term success, right? So let's say you want to find somebody in your field who has experience over the last maybe 10 years, right? But you can also find one that is just a few steps ahead of where you are. And so when you think about one, don't think that you just have to have one. I tell people that it's really wise to have a few. If you are somebody like me, I own a business full time for the last 4 years, but if I had a career and I found myself in a certain space, I would want to find somebody who looked like me. That would definitely be one person that I have on my team. Now, again, now I own a business, I do have a coach and things of that sort. But I'm saying, like, so for instance, let's say that you are in the field, a field, it doesn't matter. And you may want to find a woman that's Black, right? Because I know we don't want to talk about this. We don't like talking about this, but it is a reality. We have to face struggles and walls that a lot of people don't have to face. Right? Being a Black woman in corporate America is a challenge on its own, right? And if you don't care to admit that, then go ahead and just hit the X right now, right? So if you know that you eventually want to be in a C-suite role, you need to find somebody who looks like you, right? And this is not just Black women. This is really just any what you call it, whatever. Anyway, I'm not, because I don't want to call out certain races, because I don't want to feel like it's only for them. But if you know that there are certain obstacles that you have to face, you need to find somebody who looks like you, right? Because they will share a level of insight and a level of strategy that you can't get from everybody else, right? And so if I was, I had a desire to be in C-suite in the next, 5 years, I want somebody who looks like me, right? But it's not saying that you cannot also have somebody else who does not look like you. And that's why I said on your team, on your support team, there are just different seats and roles that have to be filled. So for instance, if you desire to be in a C-suite position and you have small children, you need to find somebody that got small kids just like you, who can give you the insights on how they were able to still be successful and still be there for their family. And so with that kind of question, it really does depend on where you are in your career, what are the next goals. But I definitely believe that you should have more than one. Not saying that you got to have more than one at all times. What it is saying is that understand that the knowledge and the resources and the tools and the insights that you need will come from more than one place. So I've been over here for an hour and 15 minutes. Do you guys have any questions? Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Do you guys have any questions? Again, if you're wanting to work with me, let's chat. Again, I do have a group that you are able to learn the skills that you need to learn, guys, in order to survive this thing called a job. Because I don't think that a lot of people understand the skill that it takes to put yourself in a position of success, right? And so again, if you want more information on my group, you can go on my website and find out, and you can also go in the link as well. But I think I've answered all the questions. So if you guys do not have any questions, just remember that I do go live I go live on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And that's what I wanted to say too. I go live on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Will that be every Tuesdays and Thursdays? No. Will that be most? Yes. But I can also go live on Friday, right? I just tell people that for the most part, I am going to go live on Tuesdays and Thursdays, right? If you do want to stay in the loop of what I have, make sure that you guys do subscribe. As far as my tribe, you can go to Career T, that's Career TEA.me, and subscribe and make sure that you guys stay in the know of everything. But I believe that is all the questions I have for this morning. And so I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.